Hello, hello, hello. I am Shelly, known as That Girl Shelly Online. And for those that don't know me, I work with entrepreneurs who are ready to take their business to that next level by creating a professional online space where people then entice people to buy their products and services. Okay? That's me in a nutshell. I wanted to come on because I gave you guys some free stuff today. If you're on my mailing list and you got it earlier, if you follow my business page, then you guys have it too because I posted it as a post today. And a lot of the free things are things that you may not necessarily know how to use in your projects. And so I am going to show you how to use some of the things today. The first set of things that I'm going to show you how to use are the elements that were given away for free this week over in Creative Market. So if you guys checked it out, then you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't checked it out, I'm about to take you over there now. So let's see. Okay, and so we're here in Canva, which is where we're going to end up eventually. But first, I want to go here to Creative Market. And so every Monday, as you guys know by now, they give away free things. So a lot of the times they'll always have like the free font of the week. They give away some kind of graphic element. They give away some templates. So this week they're doing the wedding invitations. They're doing a floral bundle. Little houses, they're doing some patterns, they're doing a couple of different things. And so if you ever wanted to know how to use these in projects, I'm about to show you how. I already downloaded them so it can make it go a bit faster, but I'm going to tell you which ones I downloaded so you know what we're going to be working with today. Since we're going to be doing it in Canva, and because I don't use Canva personally to do client work, I use Adobe, Photoshop, Illustrator, or InDesign. I don't have the paid version of Canva. Now, why I say that is because with the paid version of Canva, so Canva for Work, I would have been able to upload this sweet and salty font, and it would be included in my font choices. So let's see. Let's go back over into Canva, and I guess we always do social. We always use the social media graphic one. Um, we can do a different one. Let's use Pinterest graphic today. And I'll tell you what I mean about the font. So this one is absolutely the free version of Canva. But if you actually have Canva for Work, then right here, you'd be able to add your own fonts. You would not have to use the fonts that Canva provides. And most of these fonts that Canva gives you, they're Google fonts. You'd actually be able to install your own fonts. But with the free version of Canva, you can only use the fonts that they have. So that's why we won't be using the sweet and salty today. You can absolutely use the sweet and salty over in PicMonkey for free, but just not in Canva for free. Okay, so let's go back to Canva. Let's go back over to the Pinterest graphic. And I'm just gonna check really quickly just to make sure you guys can hear me. I wanna make sure that I am just not talking and you guys can't really hear me. Oh, yep, and you guys can hear me. Okay, so I already downloaded some of the elements. So let me go ahead and unzip those files. We can start with the floral clip art. I just want to make sure I unzip everything. So that way then over in Canva, we can just bring them in. All right, so now over in Canva, right? So for most of you guys, when you're working in Canva, you're actually using one of the pre-designed layouts that they have. Perfectly fine. There's no problem with that really. So if we're going to use that background, let's see which one we're going to pick. You guys kind of like, let's pick this one, right? So let's make it a little bit larger. So we have this one. And remember over in Canva, I actually downloaded the lovely floral bundle, which has these backgrounds that has like floral arrangements in them. So we're going to actually, let me click that off so I won't keep going there. I'm going to actually upload that here. So it's in my downloads. And it's the lovely floral bundle. And I don't know which ones we want. Let's see. Let's randomly pick. We can just pick a couple of them. So let's bring 3 of them in. And they're uploading them into Canva right now. Okay, we have them here. We actually have this one. Let's use this one. So we're going to replace this picture here of this girl. We're going to actually replace it with the flowers. So let's get that in there. Let's see. There we go. And now we have that floral arrangement there in the background. And it's only, well, see this design here, it had it where it only took up a part of the space in the background. You can say, oh no, I don't want it to do that. I want it to take up more of the background space, in which case you can just pull corners, right? And get it in there where it's situated a bit more in that space. And so now you have that background image in there. If you're actually going to go with this particular layout, you might say, oh, well, I can't really see that yellow, that golden, in which case you can just change the color. And basically when you're changing colors over in Canva, or when you're just creating your graphics in general, when you're changing colors, you basically want them to do one or two things. You really want them to match kind of like the background image that you're using. But with that, the assumption is that the background that you're using will also match or complement your brand colors, right? So they all be working in together. And on everything that you use, you don't necessarily have to use all of your brand colors all the time. You just want to make sure that you do incorporate some of your brand colors in designs that you're going to be posting online, right? So I don't know. Let's see. We can change that. I'm just going to change that to black. I am going to assume, I'm just making up colors here, guys. So let's see. Let's make this like a peachy, like a pinkish color here, right? And then in here, right, it's coming in from Canva. So notice that this came in, and notice that it's letting me change spring. Is then going to let me change summer and into. That's because this actual arrangement altogether is actually three different text boxes. They didn't bring it in all in one text box. And if you only have 3 words that you want to post on this particular graphic, hey, that works for you. If you have more than just the 3 words and you don't want to follow this particular pattern, you can delete this stuff. Just delete it. You only really need one text box, and you can type in there whatever you want. If let's see, 3 tips for branding, right? So I have that typed in there. It's way too big for that space, so I'm going to reduce the size of it, right? And I actually can make it bigger than that, because now it's way too small for the space, right? And I can make it bigger still. But before I do all of that, I also then want to decide, okay, are these my brand colors? Am I actually using my brand font? If I'm not, and if they don't have my brand font on Canva, then I'm going to pick a font that's very similar to the fonts that I use on my website. So, at this point, I'm just picking, because I'm just doing this kind of example. But you would want to pick fonts that are really close to the ones that you use on your website for this space. Now, if you like the way that looks all on one line, you could go with that. You can absolutely make this much bigger, right? So now it's there. Notice how much space that it has in between 3 tips and 4 branding. For me, I like for things to be a bit tighter when I design them, and Canva allows you to do that. So you can go over here to line height and just bring it closer, right? Notice that it is left justified, meaning that all of the text is flowing over to the left, and you can absolutely change that too. If you want everything centered, you'd go over here, up here, and you change it to centered, right? If you want everything centered within this particular box, then you can just pull it here so that everything now, oops, wait a minute, hold on. Let's pull it. Everything now is centered within this box, right? So 3 tips for branding. And if down here, you could use this to, if you're going with this design, to put your website on it, Can't spell my name, brain freeze, right? Let's try this again. ELLEY.com. Most of the time I take away the www dot, and I just make it like that. You can do that. You can move that box around, but I wasn't trying to move that box around. I was trying to actually get this bar that's really, really hard. There we go. And I'm just going to push that up some. I would probably change this to black, like that. That box could absolutely be white, or it could be like that palish green, which isn't there, but I'm just going to use that and figure it out. Let's make it like a pale green. All right, something like that. I play around with that green because I'm not really feeling that green. I might make it a little bit not so sea foamish, but like that. I play around with it a bit. If this was not using my brand font, I'd change that to whatever my brand font was in that space. But that's how you can use your backgrounds with pre-designed layouts that they have over here in Canva. This one actually had it, remember, where it was kind of cropped off. If you have ones where it's more of a full background design, like this one actually, and let me make sure that's a full design, it is. This one would actually work better a bit with our layout because it has all of this space over here. It gives you all of this space. Now notice when I brought this in, because I used one of their pre-designed layouts, it actually automatically came in with a filter. And you could say, oh, I really like that. Or you can say, oh, I don't like that at all. I want it to come in just like how the picture has it. In which case you'd click up on filter and you change that to normal. You changed it to normal. Oh, Atoya, no, this isn't Canva for Business, actually. This is the free version. So with the free version, you actually can do all of the things. You can do all of these things that I'm showing you now with the free version. The only thing that you're not allowed to do with the free version is to upload your own personal fonts. You're only allowed to use their fonts that they have. That's the only difference with the Canva for Work and the Canva for Work, which is the business version of Canva, and then regular Canva. The other thing that the paid version of Canva allows you to do is that the paid version of Canva allows you to switch between designs. So say, for instance, you created a social media design over on earlier, right? Canva for Work would allow you to come here and use that same template over in this new design. Right, so that's some of the features for the paid one. But no, all of this stuff here that I'm doing, you can absolutely do it with free, which is kind of cool, right? That they allow you to do all of this stuff with free. Yes, you can. Okay, so yeah, so for this one, I have this image in here. And now notice, if you come back over here and you look over on the side on how this image came from Creative Market, you know that you can see more of this flower. And this one is cropping the flower off some. And you can say, oh, I like that. Or you can say, no, I want to see more of that flower. In which case, you'll click on the picture, you come over here to crop, and you just shift it, right? You can shift it around to wherever you want it to be. Other things that you can do with your picture designs is that you can flip it. If you don't want it on this particular side, you can flip it on over to the next side, to the other side. So it's just kind of wherever you want it positioned within your design, right? So now we have this. If you're working with this design and you'll say, okay, this is really not working anymore. So let's make it work. Let's get rid of all of this stuff, because you would need all of that stuff absolutely if you were doing this recipe. And okay, let me go back. I'm gonna tongue tied. I'm gonna undo everything that I just did. Say you were doing a recipe. Say you needed all of this information that was right here on this particular graphic, and now your background is getting in the way and you don't want it to get in the way. there are things that you can do to maneuver this, right? One of the things that I would do right away is I'd say, okay, this title is not working here. If I have everything else over here, that's kind of okay. Everything can be just left justified, right justified over here, but this title isn't working here. So let's get rid of it. It's called the Pineapple Express, and we can keep it as the Pineapple Express, but it's just not fitting in that space. And so I would move it up here and I would make it the Pineapple Express up here, right? If I'm making it up here, I also have to realize that I'm working within the space. If I need this cocktail label here, I would move it to down here in a space where it will still fit and be seen. But that won't interrupt, I wouldn't put it right there, but it wouldn't interfere with my title, right? And I would also then spread this title all the way out. So I'm going to do this again. Remember I told you if you want it centered within a space, you can just stretch it all the way out to the end of that box, right? You can center it. And now it's centered in that space. Notice now the Pineapple Express is still interfering with our background image, right? And so I can do one or two things at this point. I can say, oh, I want to make the title smaller, but I might not. If I want to keep the title that big, what I would do instead is I'd go back to this crop tool and I would maneuver it. I would maneuver this a bit. Let's see. Let's take some of it down a bit. Pull some of these corners in a little bit. I don't like the way that's fitting over there, so let me bring it back out a little bit. Let's see, still not fitting in that space. And what's affecting me with this particular picture is that my picture isn't big enough in the sense that it doesn't have enough space at the top to allow me to really maneuver it so that I can push it down some without it having like spots up at the top and spots up at the bottom. So in this instance, what I would do, if I still don't want it to interfere with my title, what I would do is then I would change this from green because it's matching too much with that flower, and I would make it another color, a darker color maybe. Oh, yep, I sure will, Atoya. No problem. I sure will. And thanks for joining me. But yes, I will keep going. I'll let you can actually absolutely watch the replay, and I will follow up with you. I would make this a bit darker, but still in the pink family, like that. And then other things that you could also do is that you can bring the background down a little bit. It's at 100%. You can fade it a little bit so your title is more important, but do it like that. If I'm then going to make it where I have this two-tone color palette, then I'm actually going to incorporate that color within the rest of, within the rest of the graphics on that page. So that then it just doesn't become an isolated color on a page. That's what I would do for it. But yeah, with anything that you get over in Creative Market, you can bring it over here. Now, I'm going to show you something different. So that was using two of their layouts. I'm going to continue to use their layouts because for the most part, I know that most of the people that I work with, most of my clients, they actually use the pre-designed layouts and put their type and copy within those. So I'm going to choose another one where I can use, where we'll now be using the floral elements that are the ping designs. The individual floral elements, we'll be using those within the design. So I'm going to pick this one, right? This one, See the World. It has these trees up there, right? Perfect place for us to put those flowers. I don't know what we're going to do for the background right now, but we're going to figure it out. So let's upload that. And that one was not here. That one was, am I in downloads? Yes. Sorry. That one was part of the navy pink, this clip art. Now, when I downloaded that, it gave me the option of getting the work in ping form, right? Or in vector form. Now, vector form is only for those people that will be using Adobe Illustrator to make their designs. If you're using Canva, then you're only going to use the ping version. And let us bring in some of those. Let's see what elements we have that we're going to bring in. I don't know what we're bringing in. Let's just bring in 3 of them. So we're gonna upload those over to Canva. Notice that they don't have a background, right? They're transparent, meaning that they will come over any background that we have up here. Um, I am not personally feeling this whole C background in the background. And so because we're bringing in floral elements, right? I'm gonna go ahead and put a floral design back there. And since we didn't use this one, let's use this one. Right? Let's put that back there. There we go. Now that floral one is back there. And if we wanted to see, same thing, right? If we wanted to see more of those flowers, we just move that little thing, move it over, bring it in there, right? Now we see more of the flowers in the background. If that's what you want, that's what you get. If you want it where it's more cropped off to the side, we can shift it some. All right, like that, right? Now, this is our quote. We're going to put our quote in here. The world is your oyster. And if you believe in that quote and that's the one you want to go with, bam, that's the one we're going to use. Just like with anything else that you have for Canva, the layouts come with the fonts that they decide to use. You absolutely want to, once again, change them to whatever your brand fonts are, right? I guess I've already been using that one. Let's pick a different one. Let's say your brand font is something a bit, let's make it fancy. Let's make it a serif font. You're working with a serif font, right? Now, on this particular black background, can I really see that? Not really, right? It's kind of fading in. I would make it darker. Does not. So this is what it looks like black, right? Doesn't necessarily have to be black. It can just be a darker color. You can just make it a darker color. The other thing that this one automatically did with this design is that it automatically made it in all caps. And if you like to have it all in all caps, you can leave it like that. But if you actually want it lowercase, then you can do it like that. Notice this one didn't change. And the reason is I think this font is always it's not really a difference between lowercase and capital. So what we would have to do is if you wanted to see that difference, we'd have to pick a font where, let's make it Libra, right? Where you can see capital lowercase, right? The world is your oyster. You could do it like that if you wanted to, but I'm going to show you on this one because the other one you couldn't see the difference, right? All caps, regular, okay? And why would you have that like that? You wouldn't. Okay, world is your oyster. That's your quote, right? If you want it to be that spacey, go for it. If you want it to be more compact, you can bump it together, right? If you're doing that, you can bring some of it. You can bring this up, right? It doesn't have to be down that far. And let's just say, for this example, let's just bring these 2 elements up. Have that there, and then we can bring this down here because this could actually be your website, right? Right? That can be your website, and that can just be hanging out down there at the bottom, just kind of chilling, right? All right, so, but it's not centered with that bar, so we're gonna have to move it up some. That's one thing. That's one thing that sometimes drives me insane with Canva is that getting it lined up. Here we go. All right, so kind of basically lined up with that bar. If I wanted it to be that same pinkish color, bam, we can make it that pink. I can, if I say, oh, it's not bold enough, oh, this font doesn't have a bold version. Some fonts have a bold version and a regular version. This one only has the regular version. So, and right now it's in italics. We can change it to make it regular or leave it in italics, whichever one, right? Okay, the world is my oyster and it has these trees up here and I don't want these trees up here. So I am going to delete those. And instead, I'm going to bring this nice little floral thing in here, right? And I am going to resize that to make it a bit smaller. And I am going to place that right there. right? Now I've added that floral element to it. And see, now all of these colors blend in so much um, with the design that we could change it so it can stand out a little bit more. Let's see if we have like a, we can leave it like a creamish color, but just not so bright. Like that maybe. This still isn't bold. It's still like a lighter pink. And wait a minute. I don't want to crop that out. I'm sorry. But I do want to make sure that it didn't come in filtered. And it didn't. All right. So let's push this down a little bit. Things that we can do with this, because we're saying, oh, it's not as bright as I want it to be or as dark as I want it to be. You can bump it up over here, or you can go into advanced options and you can do even more things with it. Right? I can make it more saturated, less saturated, right? Less saturated meaning I'm going to turn it into a black and white, or more saturated. I can play around with colors a bit. But remember, I don't really want to do this with my ping, only because it's also going to affect the background a bit. But you can bump up brightness and stuff just to make it a tad bit brighter so you can see it a bit more on that particular design, right? All right, so I bumped it. You see it's there. And if you wanted that there, that's cool. If you didn't want that there, you can take it off. I can't really see those anymore, so I can kind of make those a color here and there. Oops, and there. And then I've brought in those elements from my creative market. I'm going to show you one last thing. Let's go. One more layout. One last thing. I want to do one that has like this whole pre-design. We're going to do this one. Add new page. Let's use this one. Live out loud. Why not? Let's live a little bit. Let's live out loud. All right. So this one has this picture in the back. Notice that, and I didn't tell you this, anytime Canva automatically comes with a picture in the back like this, they charge you $1 if you want to keep that particular background. You can keep it in the free realm if you bring in your own backgrounds. But I want to upload that house. Remember over here, you had these little houses that they had with these cute little borders. I want to upload that. So let's go back here to my downloads. I am going to go over here. Oh, sorry. I am going to find the little houses. And they were cards. Let me see how they isolated these patterns. Yeah, no. Okay, so I'm going to show you. Let's see. Here, they isolated the patterns for this, but they put them all together, right? Which means that you would still need to go into like a Photoshop to separate them out, or Illustrator to separate them out. Let me see if the patterns, they did the same. Yep, they put them all together. So you wouldn't necessarily be able to use those unless you had another program, right? But what you can use is they had these individual cards, right? Let's see. Let's use this one. Let's open up this card. See what we're going to do. Now, this card is actually a ping design, and I can tell because no background, right? And so it has the frame, it has the home sweet home. It'll have whatever background that I have already established over here as my background, right? So if I bring this over into the frame, notice that it is, well, let me pull it down. So yeah, you're really going to have to, okay, we're still going to work with this because I just want to show you. This one is square, so you really should work with this in the social media template, because it gives you the square format. But I'm going to show you what I mean when I say you still can use this, even though it has all of this stuff in it that you're not going to use. So I brought that in there. This background isn't going to work, so let's delete it. Delete the whole thing. Now we have it where it's white. White will work for us, right? Or any color, because remember, it's a ping design, so we can decide that we want it, whatever color we want to back there. Let's make it gray. Say we wanted it gray. Gray works, right? Now, if I wanted to use this particular frame, then I would get rid of that, right? Because I don't want to use that. And I also don't want to have all of this home sweet home and this house in there. I don't want to use that either. So what you would actually do is go over here to elements, go to shapes, grab a square, right? And then make that square the same fit on the inside of your frame so that way you can cover up that whole home sweet home thing. But we're not going to leave it black like a television screen, right? No, we're going to make it this same gray, whichever gray this was. Oh, we're going to make it that same gray. And that was just one of the grays that they had there, right? Bam, right? So now we have that covering up the inside of our house, and we're going to group that. That's grouped. But we want the other words to show up in front of this. So we're going to arrange this and we're going to send it backwards, right? Now it's backwards. And so now we get to use this cute little frame and we get to put our own words in it, right? So let's center this a little bit. I'm so sorry that this is a rectangle design, so it doesn't really work because it's not going to let me stretch it up and down. But you get the idea. If you were actually using a square social media graphic container, which is square, then this would actually work perfect because it will be cut off right there and right there. It'll be a perfect box, right? But let's just say we love this live out loud. We're going to keep that. I would make it not so big. It's 191. We can bump that down probably to like 151, right? Make it fit really nicely in this square. If we wanted this is your chance to stay in there, we can keep that in there. There. Now, we have this whole find out how, if we're using it within this space, just kind of chilling down there by itself. So we could move all of this up. We could technically add another shape, right? Kind of add another shape. Let's make it like a rectangle. If we were keeping in the same colors as that previous design with this particular house, this would be red. And there's no red. So we're going to make our own red. That's red. That's going to be as red as we're going to get today. We center this in this space. And then we can just bring this whole, let's arrange this back. Anytime you don't see your layer, you just arrange the layer that's covering it up back, or arrange your layer forward. Either way, just so you'll be able to see it in the space. And then we can make that here and put that there. And this box is way too big for it, so we can make that smaller. And then if I shift, I can, then select all of these things, all of these elements together. Did it get the box? There we go. Now we had a box. Now we have the box, and we can group that. And now that's grouped, and we can kind of move that around to where we want that to be. Here, if you wanted to change this to black, you absolutely could. Change it to black. Once again, you can change these all to your font colors. And then here, if we were actually using this example, I'm going to copy that because I don't want to type it out over again. And then I'm just going to move it all the way down here. And then I'll just put this down here at the bottom. We're not making great use of this space, but you get the idea, right? On how you can even bring in JPEGs, even if they have stuff on the inside, you'd still be able to work with it. You just can grab some shapes and cover up what you don't want to be seen. Okay? So let me see if there are any more questions. And so just to recap, I'm going to show you what I showed you how to add to your graphics. We used some of the flowers from this navy and pink floral clip art and vector set. We used some of the backgrounds from the lovely floral bundle and set of 12. And then we used one of the cards from the little houses vector, right? There's some other cool stuff back here on Creative Market that you can use in the designs. The geometric patterns is another one of the free ones. The invitations, if you're trying to do a wedding invitation, same type of thing. These backgrounds, you can bring them directly into Canva as long as it's a JPEG or a PNG file. You can upload it right here and start your creation. Okay, let me come back over to you. As soon as I can pull it up, let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay. So guys, I hope that this was extremely helpful. I know that I tell you go over to Creative Market and get the free stuff, but I never really showed you, how to go over there and use the free stuff, especially using a program that you're used to and that you're familiar with using. So now, if you're working on something exciting and you want my opinion or you need some kind of design help, I encourage you to click on a link that I am going to put above in the description above after this live that will lead you to my calendar. I would love for you to jump on, schedule a time, and chat with me. Okay? I hope that this was extremely helpful, and I hope that you're having a great Monday. This is the last day of July, guys. August is here tomorrow, and I am an August baby. I am August all the way, and it's my birthday month, so I might be doing some special things in August. Stay tuned. Have a great rest of your Monday, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.